Our next session now, for which I would like to welcome back onto the stage my colleague Melanie Noronha. We're on to now what we are discussing in terms of fintech exchange. And the question that we are posing to you all is, who owns the future of finance? Melanie, over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rob. And thank you to our audience for staying engaged. This session is going to be a true test of that engagement because we're changing things up a little bit. We're going to pose a question and then invite views from our audience. So the way it's going to work is we'll have a question up on the screen, which is already up. We'll encourage all of you to vote while Rob and I share some views on that question. And then we'll open the floor for comments from our audience. So, of course, what is the context for this question? We've seen the rise of fintech over the past decade, but there's a new player on this finance landscape, and that's big tech giants. We've seen Apple getting involved in payments and credit, Google in payments as well, and Amazon in lending. So the question really is, which poses the greater long-term threat to traditional banks? Is it big tech platforms or fintech startups? So I encourage all of you to either scan the QR code or go to slido.com and put the code that you see on the screen and contribute to this discussion. Please vote and let us know what you think. But in the meantime, Rob, what do you think?
Well, it looks like I've already won because I'm speaking on the motion that big tech is a bigger threat to traditional banks, more so these big tech behemoths than nimble fintech startups. And it's true that big tech firms like Apple and Google and Amazon already sit on massive user bases with unparalleled volumes and quality of data, global infrastructure, and super apps now with embedded finance. They can scale financial products quickly by embedding them into their platforms, the platforms that billions of people are already using, used to, and in love with. Banks can compete with fintech startups on niche innovation. They can even acquire them, but they can't compete with big tech's reach, with its frictionless integration, trust, and ecosystem lock-in. So if disruption is about scale, big tech has already won.
You know, big tech certainly has the consumer base advantage, but fintechs, in my opinion, will remain the sharper disruptors. Fintech firms are so deep into the financial services space with payments, with lending, with wealth management. So while I think big tech just flirts with finance, it looks like fintechs and these fintech startups live and breathe finance on a day-to-day basis. Fintech firms are also not weighed down by legacy systems or aren't exposed to the kinds of political and regulatory scrutiny the way the big techs are. So it'd be great to get your views now on this question. It looks like overwhelmingly the audience believes that big tech will be the bigger disruptor. But I now invite all of you, any of you in the audience, to raise your hand and share your perspective. We'll have someone with a microphone come up to you if you can raise your hand.
Okay, who's going to be brave? Start us off.
There we go.
Here we are. Can we have a microphone to the middle at the front here? Who's got the roving microphone?
Natasha, thank you.
Natasha, thank you.
So my name is Monty Metzger. I'm honored to be a speaker tomorrow here, and I run a crypto exchange, one of the fastest growing regulated exchanges, as well as a tokenization infrastructure company. So I do see, and I wrote a book about blockchain banking, and there was a famous quote from Bill Gates, which he said 1993, where, and he said, "Banking is needed, banks are not." So my question to you in the audience would be, how will tokenization powered by fintechs revolutionize traditional banks? And how will tokenization enable this future of finance?
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Sorry, could I just confirm though, which way did you vote here? Did you vote for fintech then, by the sounds of it?
Yes, I would be voting for fintech, clearly.
You think
So
fintech will be more disruptive and it'll pose a bigger challenge to the traditional banking sector?
Yeah, it's probably not a threat or disruption, but it's upgrading the system. That's what we are always preaching. It's basically the next evolution of banking and monetary system as we know it. So likewise, books still exist, or physical letters. Blockchain is to the money what email was to the letter.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else who'd like to contribute to this discussion? Yes, the lady in the front. Thank you.
We have one over there as well. So next question.
Yes.
So.
Thank you so much. Olina Clayton from Google here. I agree with the previous answer in terms of that it's not about disruption, right? But having you presented Google, we want to say that it's not about disrupting the banks, it's about empowering the banks. It's providing this strong, reliable, secure, and compliant infrastructure that can help the banks to offer better products, better services, and new, more innovative solutions. So yes, it's not about disruption, it's about empowerment.
And I suppose the question is about trust in many respects as well. How does an organization like Google encourage the trust of consumers, encourage the trust of corporates that it wants to partner with, given its market dominance? How do you reassure the market that you're not there to take their business or to disrupt their business? You're there to, as you said, empower their business.
Exactly. Thanks so much for this question. I think there are two parts to the trust question. Like one is the consumer trust, the customer trust. So the banks spend years and sometimes decades to build that trust with their client, to build this relationship. And financial technology is about humans as much as it's about technology. So the reason we want to really empower the banks to keep their relationships is because also of the trust that they build. And we can do, all of us, we can do what we do best. We provide the best, reliable, secure, and compliant infrastructure, while the banks can do what they do best, building the best products and innovative products and cater for those customer needs, which they understand really, really well.
Thank you so much. I think that discussion on trust is definitely going to continue in the weeks, months, and years ahead. We had another question out here.
My name is Susana Pons-Fomont. I work in a fintech company, so I'm very much familiar with the fintech environment. I also worked for global banks. Currently, my experience has been in developing a financial platform. And having said that, so I know that from an ecosystem perspective, you know, the financial services ecosystem is comprised by banks, it's comprised by big tech firms, and also by fintech firms. And it's not, to me, it's not about who's going to win, you know, it's about how we are all going to collaborate to transform the financial industry and to innovate it and to make it more customer-centric, to make it more like easier to provide the services that our customers need. So in terms of who's going, like the role that each of the entities will play, or each of these groups will play, I think that big term for platforms, they have the possibility to, in the reach, to offer a variety of financial products. And they can be developed in-house, or they can be provided by different fintech companies. So for me, it's like they can both innovate. It's just, you know, the rails that are being provided by the big tech platforms because of, for example, like if we have a marketplace, the reach of that marketplace is so, you know, enormous. There are so many users, and the fintech companies can benefit from that by using embedded finance, for example, and offer their products. And banks also can benefit from the fintech innovation by partnering with them to innovate the bank's financial product as well. So, for me, it's not one versus the other one, is how we're all going to collaborate to make it more innovative, the financial system, and more customer-centric.
Wonderful. We're seeing a great deal of consensus around collaboration looks like. And, well, maybe not to tee up my session, very shortly, we'll unpack what that bank, fintech, big tech partnership could look like. So looking forward to more discussion on that. Anybody else in the audience who'd like to? Yes,
well,
we've got a few
questions
questions.
now.
Lovely.
And look, the question obviously was provocatively binary. So I understand that we forced you to a decision. I have noticed actually that those of you scoring big tech has come down a little bit. Mel, maybe you were winning the argument. Maybe if we did it again, maybe it would be different. Yes, sir.
Can I speak? My name is Siddiq Mohammed. I am the Chancellor of a Universal Blockchain University. So I am coming up with a publication called Blockchain Nations, free from fraud and corruptions, with utmost safety, security, transparency, efficiency, and accountability. So I hereby, my humble request to you, whether EDB or Economic Impact can support such a mission, because corruption is the most difficult thing in the world today with many nations. Sure. So once you are in a blockchain nation, like Bahrain, if they declare as a Bahrain is a blockchain nation, means the trust happens through the blockchain. No need to talk anything about the nation because you're already in blockchain. So this is the mission. Most of the nations in this world should be blockchain nation. So we seek your support or your ideas or suggestion or criticism, anything for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else who'd like to join the conversation? Yes.
If you could pass the microphone behind you, there's a lady with a pink jacket who's going to take the mic just behind you, sir. Thank you very much.
I'm Hela Mathlouthi from the Entrepreneurs Group. We're based out of Abu Dhabi.
Sorry, could you just speak a little bit closer to the microphone?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Hela Mathlouthi. I'm part of a multifamily office based out of Abu Dhabi, and I just wanted to contribute to the discussion. I think I voted with big tech being the greater threat to traditional banks, is because I view fintechs in the way that, and I've worked previously for 3 years in fintech companies, and I see that they can pressure margins, they can produce better customer experiences, but oftentimes they do rely on banks and the regulatory railways that the banks offer. But big techs own the ecosystems, the data, the devices, and a lot of times. So having finance embedded within that system, I'd say, is a greater risk to shift customer loyalty. So that's it.
Thank you very much. I suppose we just hold a second. Flip the question on its head a little bit and ask which of these two groups actually bears responsibility as well. We heard in the last panel session as well talk about the importance of financial literacy. Do you think that big tech has an important role to play in democratizing finance, in helping understanding of the opportunities that financial inclusion can provide, particularly to underserved communities? So actually, if we think about this from a more beneficial perspective, do you think that big tech and or fintech should be working harder to ensure that along with the opportunity, the responsibility is also deployed?
For that particular question, I would say fintech. In my past experiences, I worked in sub-Saharan Africa in what we say the majority of the population are underbanked, underserved, and usually fintechs do hold most of the responsibility in educating people and in making the experience very easy for them to get banked, to get accounts, to have access to financial services that the traditional banks usually have a bit more bureaucracy and a bit more of a barrier to entry to those people. So in terms of that side, I would say fintech definitely is the more powerful game changer. Yeah.
Thank you. Interesting perspective.
This gentleman right behind you there who has been raising his hand for a couple of rounds now.
It's okay, no problem. I'm Mahmoud Murad. I'm in the fintech industry. Actually, my view is more on the collaboration side. So the way I see it, is that fintechs are basically the catalyst for banks to evolve, and the big tech are basically the ecosystem part, the enabler part. So it's as if it's a transition from traditional banking into having a better access to the end consumer, being the big tech, and the fintech in the middle are basically the engine, the catalyst that drives change, which ideally big tech should deliver to the end user. So it's not really a threat. It's more on a change, a process of change from being traditional to having the right product being delivered at the right time to the end user.
Sure, and I think creating a more elaborate value chain to deliver financial services now. So thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.
We have a gentleman here in the front.
Gentleman here, and then a gentleman on the second row to follow that as well.
Hello, my name is Renier. I'm currently the CEO of a fintech venture fund. I think big tech is by and large irrelevant. If you look at what's happened so far in the first 15 years of fintech development, big tech is nowhere, correct? They haven't made any impact. Google Pay tried and basically folded. And why is that? It's mainly to do, in my view, because big tech is all domiciled in the US. In the US, you cannot be in financial services part-time. You import the whole of regulation into your company, which is a complete non-starter for the likes of Facebook and Google and Apple and what have you. And that's why they haven't made any inroads. On the other hand, in every market where I've operated, and for a while I was on the board of Revolut, which I'm sure the audience knows, the banks have really suffered and are suffering from fintech, where not by being displaced, but by fintechs taking little bits of their profit pool. Fintechs are not interested in running loss-making current accounts, for example. No, they come after the SME, or they come after remittances, or they come after the more profitable pools in consumer lending. So even though I didn't vote, my vote would be squarely with fintech here. And I think we can forget about big tech in financial services.
So you think that leaves traditional banks with basic retail banking, and all the exciting high margin stuff will end up with the fintechs?
Yeah, I think that that's in effect what we're heading for, that banks will be there, but they become more and more utilities whose returns will be even lower than what they are today. And notwithstanding some world-class banks like JP Morgan in the US and what have you. But most garden variety banks will just stand by and see their profit pools being eroded bit by fintechs.
Thank you. Yes, we have probably time for one more question or discussion point from the gentleman in the second row there by the stairs. Thank you.
I am Mohammed Ashur. I work in the bank operations, but I am interested in the economic research and futuristics. Regarding the voting here, just I see a little bit it's tricky because, big tech and fintech, it's related together, and fintech, it's application of the big tech. But what I would like to say, nowadays, we can say there is no traditional bank. All the banks already, they start their journey to apply the latest technologies. So the traditional banks itself, they are transforming themselves. We will not look, some banks, they will die, and a new bank, they will come. The same banks, they will shifting and transforming. Also, what I would like to say, it's about the next 5 years and the future. I think the key point will be the blockchain technologies. All of us, we know about the blockchain. There is some issues about its legal issues or AML issues regarding the blockchains. That's why it's still not applied formally in the banks and governments. But in the next 5 years, I think they will make some applications for the blockchains and make it a little bit control for the to satisfy the AML and compliance in that side. So the government will play a role in that, banks will play a role in that. The banks as a service, and let's just to mention, not just to make it only lending service, it's something to not disappear in the future, but the shape of lending, the form of the bank service will be transformed. That's it. So the idea as a bank, it will be remain, the shape or the look, how the banks will look, it will be different. I think in Gulf and GCC, the faster bank that will apply the blockchain in the transfers and lending and this other bank services, he will dominate in the financial sector. But this, I not prefer it. I prefer all the banks in each country, they coordinate together and make how they can apply the blockchain technology and transform the form of the banking service in a way it can be controlled from the government and in the AMLs and compliance issues.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think you make a fascinating point about banks themselves transforming. Who's the fintech today? Who's the bank? Who's the big tech firm? So I think you're right. There's going to be an evolution of the nature of these organizations and the whole value chain, as we discussed as well. So wonderful. Thank you so much for being such an engaged audience, for sharing your views. Looks like Rob won here, but thank you so much for your participation once again. And over to you, Rob, for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. Well done.